So, welcome back to the Dream Team Tonic podcast, episode 72, the start of the 22-23 season. The game isn't out yet, but we've got itchy feet and we need to start getting some content out there for our beloved followers. I'm Tony, if you've not listened before, and with me, as usual, is Ben. Are you there, Ben?
Hey mate, how you doing?
All good, mate. And James, are you there?
Just about, Tony.
Just about. Here we are, the three amigos. Yeah, it's good to have us all back, refreshed after a summer break. It only feels like 2 minutes ago, to be fair. But yeah,
Sorry, I don't think James is too fresh today.
heavy one, James.
Well, I went to a Nailsy Beer and Cider Festival yesterday, so feeling a little bit fragile today. But worse than I did after your stag do, Tony. It wasn't too bad after that.
Happy days. At least you got home safe. That drive. I didn't want to drive anywhere. To be fair to you two, you both got home all right. Yeah. So turning the attentions back to the dream team. Obviously, we've had the price leaks, so which has helped us. To be fair, it means that we can come out with a bit of content and probably earlier than expected. We do know that. I think it was last season or the season before. They changed the prices of a few players in the running. So whatever we discuss today is obviously on the basis of the prices that we have today. So if you can make this 11 today, but then you can't when it comes around to the game running, we do apologise. But we're going to have a run through the runners and riders for the next 9 months and see what we can make out of this. Because a big thing this season is, I know we've gone over, a lot of questions last year about how could they change things up this year. What do you reckon, James? How they've done it this year? We said that they could price people expensively, and that could make things more interesting.
Well, looking at the prices, they've certainly made it more difficult this year. And
Yeah.
to be fair, last year was more difficult than the year before, so they're heading in that direction. With the likes of Haaland joining the league as well, and all the Liverpool assets being bumped up considerably in price. It is, and City and Chelsea, as they've all had a rise, it is quite difficult to get you can't put your dream team out there. You're going to have some enablers in there. There's no doubt about that. And if you go for Kane, Salah, and Haaland up front, you're going to have to have a lot of enablers. I don't know if that's a viable strategy, but I'm sure we'll come on to that one.
Yeah, we're touching it. Ben, what do you reckon about these increasing prices? It's what we wanted, I think.
Yeah, definitely. There was too many block defences last year at the end, and it's definitely going to stop people from going block Man City, block Chelsea, block Liverpool at the back.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Quite a few price hikes for the defenders this year, and obviously strikers are up there as well. So looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be going to be. There's been a lot of difference between the teams, I think, especially early doors. Obviously, to try and build that thing. What I've seen with the prices of the premiums is probably it's going to be quite dangerous. Is that in some teams, if your premiums don't, obviously you have to choose between say you've got 7, 8 premiums. You have to choose maybe 2 or 3 of them. If you don't choose the right 2 or 3, your team is going to drop in value quite quickly, whilst the right premiums are going to rise in value quite quickly. I think this year more than most, I think you're going to end up with a lot of teams in the danger zone quicker than usual.
Yeah,
because of the price differences and the amount of money it costs to get them premiums. So do you think that going towards, I don't know, the price rises now? Obviously, some people don't don't pay much attention. Not, I don't want to say much attention to him, but not as much attention to him. I think it's very important this year that people need to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
You reckon, Ben? You're over price rise.
I remember a couple of years ago, Liverpool played Leeds, first game of the season. I think I had Trent, Robertson, maybe Van Dijk, three at the back, and they conceded 3 goals at home. And then I was like, "Oh, shook! Like they're gonna go down in value," and they did. They went down 0.3. I think Trent did anyway, and Robbo did.
All 3 of them at once. Yeah, it's dangerous. Dangerous.
And I remember that season. And did you take those players out because you knew they were going to go down? Because obviously Liverpool went on to have a pretty damn good season defensive wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did in a couple of teams. I took a couple out, but I wouldn't recommend doing that because if you think Liverpool are going to do well all season, you're best off just keeping them in anyway. You're not going to sell them. They're season keepers, like
Yeah.
Trent is definitely anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, whilst you've got to keep an eye on these price rises, you can't be knee jerking proven assets out, can you? I mean, you've only got 5 transfers for that month. If you had a block-ish defense, say 3 Liverpool, and they concede, then you soon run out of transfers, won't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What about if you've gone for Haaland at his price over Kane? Haaland starts banging. Haaland blanks. Kane starts banging. What's your choice then? Are you going to quickly shift, or are you going to try and take the hit off the price low and the price high? Because you could end up with yourself being priced out of Kane very quickly.
Yeah.
If Haaland doesn't bang straight away.
Yeah. Well, you've got Kane's got Chelsea in the second games, and Haaland will have Bournemouth, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. But if you did want to move to Spurs, you could go Son, couldn't you? He's looking like he's going to be $1 million cheaper than Kane.
He's still up there though, isn't he? Son at 6.5. He's got quite a bit of price about him, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. It really, looking at the pricing, I like it. It's got me excited. Because there's going to be a lot of different sides. I think. I don't think we're going to see as much sameness. And I think obviously we're going to have run through our very initial drafts, and we'll probably see a little bit of difference there. Have a run through and see at the play. Obviously, Ben, your fixture is already out. A cracking read. If you've not been across and give that a read, patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic, and get yourself to give Ben's fixtures a read. It's really good insight into the opening fixtures, which helps out. Right, James. Let's have a look, mate. Let's have a look what you've thrown together for your initial draft. Obviously, I mean, this is somewhere we're not expecting this to be your opening lineup, but just what you thought of.
Yeah, obviously a lot of the players haven't been added to the game yet. This side is going to change. This won't be my opening side, but this is my initial picks so far. Yeah, it's quite tricky this year to come up with a side with all your favourite players in it. But so in goal, I've gone for Lloris at 3.5. I think Spurs are going to tighten up further this year with their new defensive recruits. I think De Gea might be an option at 3 million, but we'll have to see how United get on early in the season. They haven't exactly blown me away with their transfer dealings so far. Alisson at 4.5 is expensive, but if he can match his 185 points from last year, he would still represent really good value. If you take last year's points and this year's price, he would have a points per million of 41, which is really good. Whether he can match that again this year, I don't know. But just to save a couple of million for midfield and attack. I've gone for Lloris at the moment, so we'll Obviously, I'll be keeping a close eye on pre-season, see how Spurs are getting on. They've bought a couple of new centre backs. I think they've got Perisic in there as well. So there's a lot of variables still to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
In defence, my enabler is Aaron Cresswell. He got 103 points last year at 2.5 million. Using last year's points, he would have a points per million of 41 as well, and that's based on last year's score. Trent at 6.5, he's got to be a must-have, hasn't he? He finished last year as the second highest point scorer. Using this year's price and dividing adding in, equating for last year's points, that would be 45 points per million. So he's still representing, if he can match anywhere what he did last season, that's still really good value. I've gone for Reece James as my third defender at 5.5. His attacking threat and point ceiling are huge. So if my only concern is if Chelsea switch to a back four in pre-season, I probably would switch him for someone else because I don't think he's as effective in a back four as he is in a as playing in a five in a wing back role.
Yeah.
Other players I considered in defence were Maguire. In previous seasons, obviously.
Pardon? That's a United player. No.
Well, he got. I think he didn't. Was it the season before last? He got nearly every single game. He got over a 7 rating.
Silly amount of points. He got a crazy amount of points. He was an absolute darling.
Yeah. So even though my Man United's biggest fan, you got to put your heart to one side when it comes to these things, haven't you? So
what price is Maguire?
He's I think he's only 3 million.
Yeah, 3 million.
Yeah. So that could be a massive bargain, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be.
Chilwell's obviously one to keep an eye on. Obviously, he's coming back from a fairly nasty injury, so if he looks like he's raring to go in pre-season, then he could be an option. Romario from Spurs I quite like. I think he's nailed, isn't he? He's their best centre back.
I think so.
They bought another centre back from Barcelona recently, and I think they've got another one as well. So
that Langlet. Did they get Langlet? Did they?
Yeah,
Langley. That's a tongue tie, isn't it?
Do you think Ben Davies keeps his place then?
I'm not sure he does. So
he's not very good at left centre half.
As defenders go, I would probably only be considering Romero or maybe Perisic at the moment. Well, no, he's a midfielder in Dream Team, isn't he? So at the moment he is. Anyway, I'm hoping they switch him back to defence, but I doubt they will.
I seen a leak that Doherty's 2.5 million, but he's probably going to get rotated with the new right back that's coming in.
A new right back?
Yeah.
Jed Spence. When it comes through.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all gone quiet, hasn't it? That one.
Still in talks.
Conte likes to rotate his wing backs, doesn't he? So they tend to get 60 minutes or 30 minutes, and then it switches around. You know, he likes fresh legs, doesn't he, to try and win a game. So we'll keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, it's interesting to see who will be nailed in that Spurs defence because they're all quite cheap, and they bought well. Spurs. They could have a good season.
Definitely. Yeah. I think if you're looking for any August, if you're looking at some non-European teams with good fixtures in August, then Matty Cash of Villa and Ait-Nouri of Wolves are reasonably well priced. And they've both got Villa and Wolves have got good fixtures in August. So, you know, you could look to build some value there, potentially. But don't go with too many of the non-European teams because you're just booking in transfers for when the champions. Well, when the European games restart in September. Yeah. Although West Ham have got fixtures in August, haven't they, Ben?
Yeah, got 2 Europa Conference League qualifiers.
Yeah.
On top of is it 4 games in the league?
Yeah. So, just a quick question then to you guys:
Fine.
after last year's debacle with us loading up on Spurs players because they had extra fixtures, are you tempted to do that this year with West Ham?
No.
Not as tempted. No. I think Bowen's a good shout. I think, but then the price. I'm trying to work out whether Bowen's good value for that money. They've got the extra fixtures. Will he play? If they draw some tin pot team, is he gonna be playing them games?
Yeah.
Or is he just gonna he probably play the likes of, I don't know, Fornals and the other likes.
Yeah.
Vlasic and I mean, I don't think Bowen will play them games, and then all of a sudden you've lost the value from him. Is he 4.5 million, Bowen?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
He's a good option. They've got decent fixtures, but they open with City, don't they? Which is never nice. But then
You got 2 against them last year.
I'm gonna say, it's one of them where you look at the fixtures and West Ham are always capable of scoring, especially against the big sides. They look better against them sides on the counter and stuff. So he might be Forest's second game. Bowen might be worth that money, 4.5 million.
Well, looking at James's points per million from the millions this year to the points of last year, he's 5th in the table, 46 points per million.
Yeah.
So could be worth a bet, especially with the extra 2 games possible. If say like they struggle in the first leg, like last season, Harry Kane came and played the second leg and scored a hat-trick, didn't he?
Good shout, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I've got Jarrod Bowen in my midfield because at 4.5 million, 110 points last season. Yeah, Ben's spot on. Points per million, nearly 47. 5th on the list. I mean, it's a great way of picking out potentially underpriced players by looking at their current price this year and the points they got last year, and working out that points per million. It can highlight some players that have been underpriced, and there are a few that stand out. That information is available. That spreadsheet is available for our Patreon subscribers. I've shared that already. Yeah, so on my next pick, I don't want any laughing, okay? All right?
I've already laughed, so I've all laughed out.
I've gone for Jordan Henderson. 2 million. No laughing. He got 90 points last year, which equates to a massive 45 points per million using this year's points. So he's right up there at that price. But in reality, he's probably going to be a placeholder for someone else who's going to hopefully come out in pre-season. Harvey Ellis, 2 million.
Harvey Ellis, I was just about to say, are you not going to switch him in?
Yeah.
I just started putting him for banter. Elliott's 2 million. He started the first 4 or 5 games last season, so before he got the nasty injury. So he's definitely one I'm going to be watching closely in pre-season. Fabio Carvalho, unfortunately, isn't in the player list at the moment, which is annoying. I can't imagine he'd be more expensive than Elliott. He might even be slightly cheaper, but he could be a potential enabler. And as soon as Dream Team launched a game, and if he's not in there, I will be campaigning to get him added.
I mean, it's what I don't think he's going to play much, Carvalho. I mean, I know he played a lot for Fulham. He's a very good player, dangerous. He's very good, but they've just signed Darwin Núñez. They got Luis Diaz on left. Whether he's going to play a bit part and come on every now and again for Luis Diaz on that left. Remains to be seen. With Harvey Elliott, I think obviously playing in at 3 in the midfield at 2 million. Like I said, before he got injured, he probably was one of their solid performers. I don't, as a Rovers fan, I don't need selling on how good Harvey Elliott is. He is an absolute. He's a player.
Yeah.
He's gonna go on to the best. He's gonna want to be the best in Europe. He's that good. Now, whether it's surely after his injury, if he has a good pre-season, he will be in that Liverpool side. I think at £2
Yeah,
million.
I wouldn't be surprised. I was surprised he started the first 4 or 5 games last year, but when you saw how he played, he
Yeah,
didn't let anyone down. He was good.
yeah.
Yeah.
As a Rovers fan, I was just desperate for Liverpool to probably not have watched him play for us, and then they were just like, well, go and have another year at Rovers. But there were absolutely no chance, and he come from us playing in our side in Championship to straight in that Liverpool front first 11, and he didn't look out of place. Quality player. Yeah, but and with Henderson, do you think they're phasing Henderson out, captain?
Difficult to. I. He's not that old, but yeah, he's not going to play every game, and he's happy. He's happy with that situation. Milner's still there. Milner's still winning the
He signed a new contract, hasn't
lactate test.
he?
He's won it every year since he joined. Still one of the fittest players in the squad. It's just a machine apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll rotate. We've got some options in that sort of number 8 position. Henderson won't play every game, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and if Keaton, Thiago stay fit, I mean, they spoke to the positions, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, good options. Go on, mate. Carry on with your team then.
Yeah. So I thought Mahrez might be a bit higher priced than 5.5 million, but he did drop off near the end of the season, didn't he? Whereas the season before, he finished the season amazingly. So
yeah.
blows a bit hot and cold, but there's no doubting his points potential. With some of the departures at Man City, perhaps he will get even more game time this year, and he's still he finished the season just behind KDB in terms of points. KDB's 7 million or something now. It's a lot of money. So and Mahrez finished the season at over 7 million. So at 5.5, I think he's a decent price. So I've got him in there. I've got Kulusevski in my side at the moment at 3.5 million. I'm not 100% convinced by this pick at the moment because now that Richarlison has joined Spurs, I do wonder how that might affect his game time. So I'm going to be watching that in pre-season, see how that pans out. But I do like Kulusevski as an option.
Yeah, it's definitely one of them question marks, isn't it? Like, because obviously they're making signings in similar positions, but he were unreal. Like, I've never. I say I've never. There probably some, but for somebody to come to Premier League and take it like he did, and just basically just full of assists, goals. Like, I was expecting just like a slow burner, but he come in, he just fired straight away. Unreal. His ability wise, like, I mean, we say obviously because Spurs are signing in them positions and other stuff. If he just carries on, you can't leave him out the side.
Yeah.
Well, with this five substitutions this season, there's going to be a lot of rotation up front anyway, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
We've got European games as well, so they'll definitely get game time. So they might play 60 minutes in the Champions League and then play 30 minutes in the Premier League, and then they'll change it around the next time. So they should get 90 minutes a week, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
It's definitely something we're going to have to factor in. I mean, these 5 subs definitely it's so much for the bigger sides. I mean, it has no advantage whatsoever for 14 teams in that league. No advantage whatsoever. It just the complete favours in them big six sides, and I don't know how that's ever been voted through. Absolutely, that's just tosh. It's absolute tosh. But yeah, so there we have it. We have pet roulette to deal with, and now we have the basis that all these sides that have very very good players on the bench can use five, especially when they're 2 or 3-0. So when something that we're going to have to look out for is the fact that I don't know. You got Spurs. Spurs are beating someone 2 or 3-0. Son scored a couple, but you've got Kane. Guess who gets hooked? Kane, Son, Kulusevski. They all get taken off. Next thing you know, they got Lucas Moura, Richarlison, and whoever else on, and you don't get a look in, even though you're thinking this could be an absolute hammering. I think it's going to be quite painful sometimes.
Another good thing though is like we were talking about the Spurs fullbacks. So if they only play 20 minutes at the end of the game, they're going to get if they win 2-0, 1-0 or 2-0, they're going to get a clean sheet points, aren't they? Going to get that 5 points. So
it's
quite interesting.
Definitely a position that will be rotated as well. So obviously, like you say, if you got I don't know Royale or Doherty or Reguilon, Davis, I don't know. Yeah, it's someone you might be able to sneak on for a few minutes just for a clean sheet. I'm definitely guessing these subs are going to get very frustrating, especially your attacking players. So it's one of them to keep an eye on. I think you need somebody who's going to score a hat trick before they get taken off. But yeah, it's going to be tricky. Another thing to think about.
Yeah. Other midfielders on my watch list, if you like, that I didn't put in, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on. Fernandes at United, 5.5. If Ronaldo leaves, perhaps he'll,
Fernandes back on penalties.
Be back to Fernandes, yeah, and and he the season before Ronaldo joined, he was amazing, wasn't he? So you do wonder if he will be that player again. Ten Hag's saying that he's going to produce an attacking side, so he could be a man to watch. As could Jadon Sancho at 3 million. He could prove a bargain.
Yeah.
If Ten Hag can get them firing, 3 million for Sancho could be something worth looking at. I think I mentioned it earlier. Annoyingly, Perisic is classified as a midfielder. That's annoying, isn't it? But 3.5 million for him could still potentially be an option if he gets the number of goals and assists that he did in Italy last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a game time for Perisic. He's an old lad, isn't he? He's an old lad. But like I say, if he's going on or playing 40 minutes, 60 minutes, don't matter in Dream Team, does it?
No. So up front, I've gone for Sonny. He's slightly cheaper than Kane. I think it's $1 million cheaper. So Sonny 6.5 million. Not much needs to be said about him really. I mean, he finished last season on amazing form. If they continue to play the same way next year, I think Sonny will be potentially running for that golden boot again. Salah, I've got Salah in there obviously. 7.5 million is a lot of money, but if you can get anywhere near last season's points, it will still provide good value at 7.5. In my sort of enabler striker spot, if you like, at the moment I've gone for Nketiah. He's only 2.5 million. Whether he gets the number 9 role or not, I thought he was going to get the number 9 role.
I thought that as well.
But Gabriel Jesus came on first pre-season game, second half, and got a couple of goals. And he's got the number 9 shirt. So I'm starting to think perhaps Gabriel Jesus will be the number 9, but we'll see. Again, that's another one to watch during pre-season.
It's a tricky one, that, James. Like you say, obviously you'll be given the number 9 shirt, Jesus, but Eddie Nketiah's signed a long-term contract. He must have had reassurances because he was very much going to leave
Yeah,
before the last probably 3-4 months of the season. I think we'll see Jesus on the right. I think we'll see Jesus on the right, probably Martinelli left, and Nketiah will probably keep his position in the middle because he was scoring goals.
yeah,
Like he's proven himself. He don't need. He had a good 3 or 4 months where he was just as playing as Arsenal's number 9 and scoring goals, and he kept Lacazette back on that bench. Stay there, son. 2.5 million.
it's cheap as chips, isn't it? I mean, it's a team playing in Europe with a 2.5 million striker playing as a number 9 could be amazing
Gold,
value.
yeah, it could be gold. Could be absolute gold.
Yeah,
And obviously with the prices this year, you need somebody like that. Somebody you can throw into your team who's going to get you points, but for absolute minimal millions. And I think he could be one of them.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So, what do you think then, boys? That's the team. Am I gonna win Dream Team?
I like it.
Not with that team. Not
No,
yet.
I just think like draft wise, though,
Yeah.
like with the base and other things, like so I look at like Kulusevski and Son, and then I'm thinking, do we need a bit of Chelsea in there
Yeah,
up top? And I start to try and spread my strikers out, but Son at 6.5 million, like you say, is a little bit less than the absolute premiums. Golden Boot winner. I mean, and then Kulusevski, I think he's priced as if he's going to be rotated.
yeah.
I think definitely at 3.5 million, he's being priced like he's not playing every game. Yeah, Mahrez. Our good friend Mahrez. Sterling's gone. Well, more or less gone. I think it's not been confirmed yet. I think it's going to be confirmed in the next couple of days. Who else has gone from City?
Jesus.
Jesus as well from that right hand side. That's it. So it's opened it up for Mahrez. I mean, that's his position now, and is he going to play every week though, or are they going to sign? Did they see Alvarez as just put him out wide? I know he's not a winger. He's a striker, but what does that matter? Jesus was a striker before he came in as well.
Mm.
Is that where Guardiola's seeing Alvarez on that right hand side? Maybe we don't know, do we? Because Mahrez, he's not the youngest, is he? How old is he now, Ben? 31? Is he?
Mahrez, he's about 31, I think. I'll just...
Not youngest. So there's got to be... What's Pep got in line there?
He's 31. Yeah. They're offering him a new contract. I'm reading.
Well, I mean that would initiate that. He's going to probably be number 1 this season then on that right-hand side.
Oh, he's a classy player on his day. I mean, he's unbelievable.
I mean, we don't want to get too excited about certain assets, but if he nails that right-hand side and he's got Haaland running through that middle, he's going to absolutely fill his boots with assist points this season.
Yeah. It's a shame Dream Team's a bit stingy with assists, though, isn't it? We really want goals, don't we? We've got to remember, you only get 2 points for that assist, but you know
we do. But he's a bit of a darling, Mahrez, as well. Like he's not shy of a star man, is he?
Well, that's the thing. That does bump up the ratings, obviously. So you get some back with your if you get your 7 star man rating, or hopefully even star man if you get the best rating. Yeah.
And let's not forget, it's Mahrez, and he's a greedy bastard. And I tell you what, he'll be taking just as many shots as he wants. So
If he
think,
does that, he'll be on the Pep's naughty step, won't he?
yeah, you get dropped out for a couple of games, but we're all right. 5.5 million compared to De Bruyne's 7. He could be a bit of value,
Yeah.
like in that City midfield, definitely.
Definitely at the start of the season as well, with only one game a week in August until the
Yeah.
end. He might play a bit more. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
even when they play 2 games a week, he still plays in Europe if you don't play in the league. So
Yeah. What do you think on left hand side of City then with Grealish, Foden? Do you think that's just going to be a mix up, or are they going to move Foden's position, or are they going to play Grealish behind Haaland? I don't know.
Tricky one, that. They've tried. I think they've tried Foden in a sort of more of a number 10 role before, and it's not quite worked, has it? So he
No.
does seem to prefer that left hand side. But he's
Yeah,
a talented
definitely.
guy, and he's still young. He could emerge in. Well, we keep saying this will be the season Foden emerges, and he
As
doesn't.
a dream team asset, he should be absolutely smashing it, shouldn't he? He's a
Yeah,
quality player, but
I'm sure it's going to happen. I mean, I've got more faith in Foden than I have in Grealish at the moment.
yeah.
hey, if you were signing a player for your club now, would you sign Sterling or would you sign Grealish?
Ooh,
Yeah.
tricky.
For my club, it would have to be Grealish because we don't want the snake back, do we?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I think I'd go for Grealish. I think Grealish is full of confidence. I think you can give him a platform to play football and he'll just do it. And Sterling, sometimes he gives me the impression that he's a confidence player, and when he's on fire, Sterling, he's unbelievable. He is for England and for his club, he's unbelievable. But I just think Grealish has got this arrogance because he's quality Grealish, and he's got the arrogance to be able to just perform it. And even if he's not quite on it, he could just drop. He could just do it like that. If Sterling's having a bad game, I don't think there's no recovery for him. Whereas Grealish could just boom, that's out of nowhere, just do something special.
No doubt about that. Grealish is a better player than Raheem Sterling, but as in a fantasy football player, I think Sterling's a better player, scoring points wise.
Yeah,
Um, and especially with Pep, like Pep's so regimented the way he wants his teams to play. I remember watching Thierry Henry on Sky Sports. I think it was a Monday Night Football, and he was talking about how Pep has his teams regimented. Where like Henry, when he played for Arsenal, he used to just do what he wanted. Grealish,
yeah,
when he played for Villa, he used to do what he wanted.
yeah.
And he come inside once to get the ball for Barcelona, and he bollocked him at half time. He says, "You stay out there. That's your position." So that's maybe hindering Grealish playing for City. The way that they play.
Possibly.
Yeah, good point. I think that could be the case.
I
But
think you always get that though, don't you? Like, no disrespect to Villa, but obviously he's now come from being that big fish
yeah,
to being a medium fish, and all of a sudden there's all these fish in this pool that you're not the special player nowadays. You're not somebody who's just the best player. And I think you see that with a lot of players that are stars at the lesser clubs or the smaller clubs. Whether I think he's got the arrogance and the quality to pull it off. I do think he'll have a better season for City. I think
yeah,
it could be a
100%.
big year for Grealish as well,
Yeah,
because
definitely agree.
he's when he's on fire, Grealish as well. When he's running at people, when he's at his best, he's unbelievable. They paid 100 million for him because he's that good. It's not just they've not mispaid for him. I don't think obviously they won the league last year and other stuff, but I don't think because he didn't contribute as much as what everyone wants into it. He didn't score that many goals or he didn't do that many assists. He's unreal, Grealish, and I think this might be the season that he could become a really good asset in fantasy football as well.
Yeah,
Especially with the players leaving, because maybe Foden gets thrown out to the right. Maybe I don't know. You might see a little bit more rotation, but yeah,
I'd like to see Foden and Grealish play like 10 and 8, but like a left-sided 8 and a
yeah,
so not a
along
10,
the same
sorry,
side again,
a left
same
winger,
side.
like, yeah, on the same side, so they can rotate.
Definitely, that'd be unreal. Pet's surely got that in his head because
Yeah.
that'd be because they're both good at that.
Mm.
Both very, very good at that. Two very talented footballers. Very lucky they're both English. We just can't seem to use them, can we? But yeah, I mean, City's attack is pretty scary this year. Haaland, I think, he's an absolute proven goal scorer. Do you have any doubts about him in Dream Team?
Well, his injury record's not great, is it?
Mm.
So you do wonder if he might be managed. He might become if he hits the ground running, how can you leave him out? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he could be immense. He's going to get the service at City, isn't he?
Well, it would be scary to not have him, and this is what I'll put to all your Dream Team players. It'd be scary to not have him, and he goes off like an absolute bomb in these first two games, and you are trying to clamber and trying to change your team to try and reach his price, and trying to get him back in after he's scored a couple of hat-tricks first couple of games. It could go the other way, but essentially, by putting him in initially, and this is my recommendation, it might go wrong, but I think you should have him in initially. If it goes wrong, you could easily an easy downgrade to a Son or to a Nunez, a Darwin Nunez at Liverpool, or you've got options. If you put somebody in and you don't have Haaland in and you're trying to clamber back to him after he's set off like an absolute train, you might struggle. You might have to rip a team apart just to try and get him back in, which is dangerous.
Yeah, that's the concern, isn't it? Trouble is, you can't. In an ideal world, you would have Salah, Kane, and Haaland, wouldn't you? Probably
yeah.
You could pick your top
Yeah.
three strikers. But yeah, I don't think it's not feasible. Have you guys done any drafts with all three up top?
I haven't, not yet.
Are we going to touch on that? I don't think I did. No, hold on. No, I've got one here. I did do one. Exactly what
Let's have a
you
gander
said.
then.
So we've got here. So I'm going to draft Salah, 7.5 million. Haaland, 7 million, and Harry Kane, 7.5 million. So we got the three big hitters up top. Midfield, Luis Diaz, Liverpool, which 5 million. That's a hefty thing. So he could easily be moved around there. So there's a lot of player there. Louis Dejan Kulusevski, 3.5.
Yeah.
Again, you could probably give a bit there. Bernardo Silva, 4.5.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, take $1 million out of there if you wanted to. There's a lot of value knocking around at that price. Harvey Elliott is probably the guy that's give the value there at 2 million. So he's probably released the funds to be able to enable them front three. And you've got goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, which Arsenal have a nice start to the season. Obviously, European team as well, so it's one of them. Gabriel, who did he score 5 goals last season? Gabriel?
Yeah.
I mean, if Arsenal, I think they've slowly been building under Arteta. They've been doing all right, so they've got a decent start to the season fixture wise. So if they can hit that running, then why not? Why not? There might be a decent option, a bit of value there. Gabriel's 3 million, and then Ben Davies at 3 million. Obviously, we just touched on the Spurs centre halves and rotation. If they've just signed Lenglet and others. So whether Ben Davies will keep his left centre half position remains to be seen. He didn't do anything wrong last season. He looked absolutely amazing, to be fair.
He can
But
play left wing back as well, can't he?
yeah, so you'd like to think that he might have a space there.
He'll get minutes.
Yeah, minutes as well. I say there's five subs. Ben Davies coming on for a sneaky clean sheet every now and again. So, and then Eric Dyer, who Conte seems to absolutely love.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the stats back Dyer up, don't they?
Thing is a bit dear at 4 million though.
He is.
I
He
think.
is.
I think
you not think, Ben?
Romero definitely 3.5 million. If you wanted
Replace
to,
that.
yeah.
And then hold on, and then we're looking at we've got. So just take this little draft into consideration. So then we're looking at we've got Romero instead of Dier,
Yeah.
who gives us 500,000. If you want to trim back Bernardo Silva at 4.5, you've then got 5 million here.
Yeah.
Into centre mid. There's loads of options. That Sterling's at 5 million, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 for Sterling, and you could even, if you wanted to, Ben Davies to Cresswell. That's 2.5, and then you could go to Mahrez from Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, I just think.
Yeah, you could do all sorts.
I think you can. With the Kane, Haaland, Salah, you can build a decent side.
Yeah.
Still. It's not impossible. Obviously, you're relying on a little bit of North Londonness to bump it up, I think. But obviously, just that little run through there, I think you see the options are available, which is it can be exciting that because if Spurs and Arsenal get off to a decent start, and we're all on a little bit of a semi block at the back with our big hitters up top, it could be a fruitful opening.
One big thing though with that team, no big at the back.
It's true, Ben.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're lacking Trent, you're lacking Cancelo, you're lacking Reece James, but you're big up top.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's quite exciting though to have the three up front, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, when we look at Trent, I mean, he's probably he could sneak you an assist and a goal, and he's not the second highest point scorer for nothing last season.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the same this year? We don't know. We do not know whether it's going to be the back lot that are going to get you the money, the points, sorry, or the front lot. But it'd be when you're watching these games at the weekend, would you be more scared you don't have Haaland against Bournemouth or Trent against Notts Forest? I'd be shitting myself for that Haaland against Bournemouth because he's ripped it up in the Bundesliga. I'm pretty certain he is the missing link that City have been after for all these years since Aguero. When Aguero started on the wane, I mean, it's gonna be dangerous. It's gonna be dangerous. You can't. I don't see. I don't think you can go without Haaland.
I think he scored a hat-trick on his debut for Dortmund as well.
It'd just be scary. It just would. As well, though, so we go to obviously the back end of last season, Salah was a little bit quiet. But the lad they've signed, Darwin Núñez, I seen him twice last season. Once was against Liverpool. I seen him once against Liverpool and once in another game, and he looks an absolute handful. Good player, good finisher. His goal scoring record stands up, but obviously it's in a weaker league. What do you reckon, James?
I've heard him described as a cross between Cavani, Suarez, and Diego Costa.
I mean, that's not bad company, is it?
It's not, is it? I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing him. So Liverpool playing United in Thailand on Tuesday. I'll be watching that definitely. He's in the squad. Most of the first team are in the squad for that game. Yeah, he could be. I've got a good feeling about him, but it remains to be
Yeah,
seen. We need to watch him in pre-season. Whether he'll start this season is the question. Klopp might, he might start with Jota up front and Salah on the right. Diaz on the left. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that, and he gradually eased him in because he's still
yeah,
only 22. But if he's ripping it up in pre-season, um, you've got to be a little bit careful with pre-season games because they can give you like a false sense of security. It
yeah. They
happens
can.
every year. You see a player, scoring for fun in pre-season, and he's not even in the side
Yeah,
come the start of the season. So you've got to sort of be a little bit careful. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool got most of their squad available, so I would like to see how he fits into that team and how he gets on in pre-season. But yeah, I mean, he could be a fantastic buy. I'm
yeah.
hoping, honestly.
I mean, he spent a lot of money. He's not going to be somebody who's going to be sitting on the bench at that price. And I think 5 million for a Liverpool centre forward. We know how good that Liverpool side is. I think
Yeah.
he might be the snip.
We've not having any. Interestingly, we can't remember the last time we had a player with any height up front.
Yeah,
So he gives us
yeah,
extra options there because he's
definitely.
he's over 6 foot. Whereas none of our other strikers, players that have been mainly playing false nine, like Firmino, etc. None of them,
Yeah.
or Jota, they're not they're not that tall. So
Hopefully he's not an Andy Carroll, eh?
hopefully he's got a bit more skill and poise than the battering ram that is known as Andy Carroll.
Uh, he's a little more Peter Crouch.
Quite skill for a big man. How many times are we going
Oh,
to hear that?
I love Peter Crouch. Love Peter Crouch. Quality player. What do you reckon? Down at Chelsea then. Let's go on. Obviously, Darwin Nunez. He's gonna get plenty of game time at Liverpool. At 5 million, he could be an absolute snip. He could be someone who is the value up top because you compare that price to all the other top strikers, the other teams. He could be a really good buy. But then you go down to Chelsea. Obviously, we touched on Sterling, he's at 5 million midfielder, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is a decent price. To be fair, he's going to be playing in the front three at Chelsea. What about Havertz? Because they're not going to sign a number 9 by the looks of it.
4
So
million.
4 million for Havertz. What do you reckon?
Not touching Chelsea strikers, and unless they have some major signings, unless they buy a decent one. I just can't see Havertz getting hatfuls of goals.
Yeah,
I mean, there's talk.
they're pretty prolific.
We're going to be there next year.
Well, there's talks of him leaving. To be fair, but with
Fine.
Havertz, he was prolific at Leverkusen. Probably in a lesser role. Well, I don't think it was a number 9 role, but yeah, he's got goals about him in his past.
I mean, it could
Whether
happen.
that, it's a very cheap alternative. It's a cheap option into that Chelsea front line. I believe Chelsea's fixtures are really open with there. Chelsea, Everton, Spurs, Leeds, Leicester, Southampton. Not the worst fixtures in the world.
That's quite a good set of fixtures for Chelsea in the opening 5 games.
What do you think of them defensively? Obviously, they lost a few bodies at back, haven't they?
We don't know yet until they sign some defenders.
Crazy.
Looking forward to see if Chalobah gets his place. He could be a cheapo, 3.5 million.
Yeah, I think judging by the transfer market at the minute, how it's going, I think Chalobah's probably got a spot on it alongside Thiago Silva. Christensen's obviously left. Rudiger's obviously left. They probably need to make a sign at the back, don't they?
Yeah, I'm sure they're looking at some central defensive recruits.
Yeah. I mean, this is trouble. Obviously, so early is that there's so much could happen. There's so much could happen with the signings and other stuff. But
Well, here's one for you. Nathan Ake's been linked with a return to Chelsea, hasn't he?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
3
great
million.
shout.
He's only 3 million on the game.
if he goes, if he goes to Chelsea and he's 3 million, Ben, he's a shoe-in, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
If he's nailed in that, if he's nailed in that position, I think he's a very cheap way into a top side, isn't he?
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We have to keep an eye on that transfer. What about Odegaard at Arsenal? Is that someone who's like he's someone who's quite explosive in his own little way when he's playing behind that striker? Do you think he'd be consistent enough to become a dream team asset?
Potentially, I think he's got potential because he's still fairly young, and he had a really solid season last year.
Yeah,
He could kick on this year, couldn't he? Especially if they've got more mobility up front with Nketiah and Jesus. You
yeah,
know, could get quite a few assists there. He likes a good free kick as well, doesn't he, Odegaard?
yeah. He does.
Pretty handy.
Talented player. Talented player. Eddie Nketiah. He's in probably. I mean, I roughly put 4 or 5 drafts together, and Eddie Nketiah didn't exit many of them at 2.5 million. I think he's probably someone who it could be the one that's the value to and I think if you put Eddie Nketiah in your side and Harvey Elliott, I think you've got a lot of money to spread around there. Ben, we've not seen any of your draft, mate. How have you gone?
Let's have a look. I've only done 2 drafts.
Yeah, that's fine, mate.
Let's have a look. And I tried to do them with a cheap goalkeeper, but a lot of the new goalkeepers that are coming in the league haven't been leaked yet. So
Yeah,
I'm waiting for Johnston at Palace, Henderson at Forest, and Areola West Ham.
yeah.
So I've got in my team, I've got Fabianski there, sat there as a placeholder at the minute. He's 2.5 million. I really liked Areola. He was 14th highest scoring goalkeeper last year in the whole game, and he only played in the cup matches. But he actually played 36 games.
Wow.
Wow.
So he got 3.5 points per game, and he ended up only 4 points behind Robert Sanchez and 1 point behind Emi Martinez.
Unreal.
So if you can get on him for $1 million last year, you'd be laughing.
Yeah.
If they do what they did last year, though, it's a no go, isn't it? If one keeper plays in the cup, one in the league, that would put me off because I started with Fabianski last year and it totally screwed me. But not just because of the European thing, but they didn't keep any clean sheets either. But
Yeah,
that's one to bear in mind, isn't it?
they seem to.
Fabianski and Bertrand.
Yeah, they seem to done. They seem to conceded in the league, but in the cup, in the European games and in the cup, they had loads of clean sheets. So like
Yeah, they
Areola
did.
was just lapping it all up.
Right.
But
Good
surely
point.
this year Areola's going to be the number one. He's too good to be a second choice keeper, and Fabianski's getting on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interested to see that. We'll have to watch that in pre-season as well.
Definitely. In defence, I've got Aaron Creswell there, 2.5 million, enabler. Obviously, hopefully he plays in Europe as well. But we have to caveat that with last season they didn't rate the who scored, who do the ratings for Dream Team.
Yeah.
They didn't do the ratings for the Conference League, so I'm hoping they tidy that up this year.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Don't
So
hold
then-
your breath, chaps.
Yeah,
Yeah. Definitely.
that was strange, but yeah. And then I've gone Trent, 6.5 million. and I've gone Laporte 4.5 million. I wanted Cancelo, but it's just 2 million too much at the minute, especially if I've got Trent in there. So Laporte's a good price for 4.5 million and gives me Man
Yeah.
City coverage. And then I've got Tomiyasu, another enabler, 2.5 million. Just he was nailed in at right back before he got injured, so we'll see how pre-season goes with him. Midfield, I've got three midfielders. Gone Jared Bowen, unreal. We already covered him, and hopefully he plays in Europe as well.
Yeah.
Kulusevski, fantastic price at 3.5 million, and obviously out of position, so hopefully he'll play. Saka 4 million. I think that's too cheap, but he's hopefully he's on penalties, so I think that's a great price. And then
That's interesting as well. Sorry, it's
Mm.
about Saka. I don't think we touched on Saka. Was someone about Jesus playing out wide right? Is
yeah,
that not Saka's spot?
yeah.
So
So I
what
think
is happening
Jesus
between
will
them
start.
two?
When I meant to say before, but my microphone was on mute. I meant to say when you're covering Nketiah, I can see Nketiah getting plenty of minutes. He'll come on 30 minutes in the league and 20 minutes here, but I think he'll play all the Europa League games in the group stages, so you
Do you
still
think
get
Jesus
points.
is going through middle and Saka on the right?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like there's so many options, so there will be rotation.
yeah.
Well, they've got Smith Rowe, Martinelli. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think now. Saka, Jesus, Nketiah, Odegaard can play further forward.
Yeah, yeah. Got a
Um,
lot of options
signed,
to be fair to him.
they've signed Vieira as well.
Yeah, Fabio Vieira. Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be interesting.
yeah. Good shout.
And he was like the main man there at Arsenal last year, Saka. So
On penalties,
yeah,
and
apart from the last game where he, excuse me, he gave Martinelli that took the last game of the season, the penalty. But Saka scored his penalties previous, so I can't see him
yeah,
losing them. Up front, Mo Salah, I just think 7.5. I've gone for Salah or Kane, so I've chose Salah. Fixtures and Liverpool score like ridiculous amount of goals.
yeah,
Haaland, 7 million. I think that's good price considering if he can carry on scoring like he was in the Bundesliga, he's going to be unreal this year. I'm looking forward to watching him play.
yeah. Definitely.
And then I'm looking forward to seeing how Jesus gets on at Arsenal for 5 million. I think it's a good price.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when he went to City. I was excited. I thought it were absolute quality. I thought he would have turned the league up. To be fair, as the number 9, I thought he had everything about him. Graft. Um, he's just a very very good player.
Yeah.
It never quite worked out for him at City to become that goal scorer. Is he going to be another one of them where he goes to Arsenal and not quite be a goal scorer as they seem to get over the years? But I'm hoping he goes there and scores 25 goals this season for Arsenal. Definitely am.
He's got a good goal scoring record for Man City. Minutes per. I don't have the stats to hand, but he had a very good minutes per goal stat.
Yeah, I just don't think he ever got the chance to become an out and out
Yeah.
goal scorer for them, like someone who's they rely on to score goals. It's just I definitely don't think that's Jesus' fault. I don't think he did anything wrong. I just think like with the rotation and the playing of certain positions, I just don't think he would ever given the opportunity to be that person, that Aguero. It might just be me or whatever else, but I think he could go to Arsenal, and if he's given that number 9 role and he's entrusted to score their goals this season, I think we could see an absolute cracking season from Jesus. I do. He's got everything. He's likable. He grafts. He's not someone who shies away from anything. He's got everything, and he's quality. He's good player.
Yeah.
Good to
Well,
see.
even when he scored 4 goals for Man City that time, and you just knew he was going to come back outside as soon as he's blanked.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and he probably knows it himself, and that's probably a little bit. It'd be frustrating. It will be frustrating. Yeah, anybody who obviously do well at your job, and then next thing you know, you're not needed. But yeah, definitely a big season for Jesus, and hopefully he does well there. Have you got another draft you want to go through?
Me, I'll go for it if you want.
Yeah, have you got
This was the
another?
first one This is the first one I did. So same front three: Jesus, Haaland, Salah,
Yeah,
Saka, Kulusevski. Then I've gone Odegaard, 3 million, a bit of an enabler. I've got the two big boys at the back, Trent and Cancelo, and Cresswell's an enabler.
yeah.
Obviously, we haven't got all the goalkeeper prices yet, so I wanted a cheap goalkeeper, but I couldn't find like a 1 million or 1.5 that I liked, or a 2 million. So I was looking at the defenders, and I looked at the defenders and the midfielders, and I've seen Scott McKenna from Forest. I know 1 million, but he's played, what was it, played like 44 starts last season, 3 goals.
He's nailed in that size.
Mm.
Yeah,
I can see them being a hard team to beat, Forest. And he looked nailed in the back line. It's only a draft, but at 1 million, he ain't going to go down much, is he? So you'll be able to get rid of him when you get some fun somewhere
It'd
else.
be hard, wouldn't it? Be hard to go down.
And then because I couldn't find a cheap goalkeeper, I've got Lloris in goal, 3.5 million.
So you got your big lads at back there, aren't you? Also,
Yeah.
your big lads up top, which is hard to fit in, isn't it? It's hard to get them in. What about Callum Wilson up top? 3.5 million for Newcastle.
Be all
Decent
right for the first
fixtures.
month.
Yeah, I think for that first month they've got all right fixtures. He could bring a bit of value.
Yeah.
Or
But like you say, when Europe kicks in September, you'll be selling him, won't you?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a transfer booked in. Set maximum 3 million. What do you reckon in Newcastle this year? I think they'll
do well.
I think they're gonna have a good season. They've signed decent. We've also had the Bruno Guimaraes as well. He's a good player.
Is
Don't
he
forget
3.5?
Yeah, 3.5. Trippier,
Yeah,
as James just said.
he looked. First few games for Newcastle, he just came in, hit the ground running, looked fantastic. But then he got that injury, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's as effective this year as well. But it's probably a short-term option with no European fixtures.
Yeah, definitely short-term options.
Have you noticed how FPL this year is like easier to pick a team, and Dream Team's gone the other way? It's gone solid to pick a team.
Yeah, it's completely like role reversed, isn't it? But to be fair, Dream Team have been begging for this because it is going to make a difference. Definitely, these enablers that we do pick are going to make a massive difference to how we go about the rest of the season, especially with regards to raising the funds for later on. And you're going to have to pick the right premiums. These premium choices are going to be... there could be a few of us left behind, like they say, if you pick the wrong ones. But that's what we're here for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Make sure we pick the right ones. Right, so lots of options there for you to ponder over the next couple of weeks, but we'll be back shortly. Just a big shout out to our new Patreons, Rick Lawrence, Jake Bevan, Nicholas Steetham and Kerry Jones. Thank you so much for your support. to anybody who isn't listening to us or subscribed to our Patreon, if you do want to support the guys, it's patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic. We would much appreciate your support. We've got a great Discord, a great group chat going, everyone helping each other. Great community. It's great to be back, lads, and great to hear your voices. Hopefully it's just as great to hear mine. Don't forget, on the Patreon, we've got the team builder. We've got the points per million value spreadsheet, all built up by James, which are massive helps. You'll find them on there. There's all sorts, Ben's fixtures as well. And there'll be many, many more things coming out through the season. So we're here to help you win your mini leagues. And I don't think there's any better place than to be at the Dream Team Tonic Patreon. So get involved. Cheers, Ben. Cheers, James.
Cheers, Tony.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, and we'll speak to you soon.